This is a avocado Southwest salad that Mom and I got from Wendy's on our way home from Philadelphia after we dropped Dad off at his apartment unit. And I briefly went in to retrieve the in-progress Aaron Rodgers drawing, which is currently in my room. I used a plastic bag to protect the Aaron Rodgers drawing. Primarily a defense in case it rained. Throughout today, it's mostly been an overcast day with occasional sprinkles. That's how it was during the car ride home, which lasted roughly from 11:30 to noon. 11:30 noon to about 5 p.m. to get to Dad's apartment unit, and then another half hour to get to Mom's place. We originally got up around 7 in the morning. After a few attempts for me to fall asleep. I succeeded around 2 in the morning. After I figured out how to turn on our Best Western hotel room. I think the full name is Best Western Plus. That's the name of the hotel chain that the building belongs to that we got a hotel room in. Our room was on the 4th floor, 418. It was a pretty good room. A double bed where Dan and I shared a bed, and Mom got the bed to the right of us for herself. I managed to fall asleep after setting the temperature to the optimal 65 degrees Fahrenheit for being able to fall asleep. I also made sure to relax my muscle groups, though I believe I did that for every attempt. Between attempts, I would carefully and slowly get out of the bed so as not to wake Dad or my mom up. I would sneak into the bathroom and then close the door so that I could listen to YouTube videos with reduced light and volume, with the door closed and the lights kept off. There were points in which I considered staying up, giving up and staying up the whole night. But I didn't feel like doing random stuff on my phone for hours while waiting for my parents to get up. I think the first attempt was from 11:30 to midnight, then (12:30 to 1), I think, and then the last and successful attempt was around 2 in the morning. The time from 7 to 9 was primarily spent with my parents taking a shower individually, and then first Dad and I went to the complimentary breakfast, where we primarily had scrambled eggs, for me a glass of milk, and some plain coffee. For Dad, I think he had a glass of orange juice and coffee with at least creamer put in, maybe some sugar too. But definitely at least creamer. For their Energized protein, they had these sausage patties, which I put ketchup on and then picked up with my fork and bit at them while each one individually was on the fork like this, just like how I used to eat beef patties back in my middle/high school days, when they made whole wheat buns for the cheeseburgers. Then Mom went to the complimentary breakfast to try and get my sister yogurt and fruit. But they didn't have any yogurt, so she came back with an apple and an orange. Around 10 in the morning or so, we drove over to my sister's new apartment. And for the first time since going on the Philadelphia trip to help her move out and then move in, for which I was willing to help and tried to help however I could, but I didn't get many opportunities to do so. There was a point in which we arranged stuff in Mom's car, which is the only car we brought and the one we used throughout this Philadelphia trip over a couple of days. We rearranged all the stuff in that car so we could fit in that couch my sister had thrown away, kind of put out into the curb, the couch being black. And made of some kind of soft fabric. Some black cushioning, primarily, with some metal legs. We transported the couch in an effort to give it back to her, since Mom happened to see it where we left it previously last night. Yeah, but my sister didn't want it. Due to hygienic concerns, since it was left outside. We then went into the apartment unit in order to help presumably bring some stuff in to help my sister look for a black silky t-shirt, which we didn't manage to find while we looked through some boxes. I looked through the drawers of a wooden vertical dresser, i.e. more vertical than it is horizontal, to the point where the drawers are kind of square-shaped rather than being rectangular. I looked through a couple of blue plastic bags in case it had been left in there. But it turns out that that t-shirt had been taken by a friend of my sister who lives in the apartment unit. And it was returned back to my sister. I think we looked for maybe around an hour. But of course, while we were there at the new apartment unit, by the way, it seemed a bit smaller than my sister's old apartment unit. Yeah, but it still seemed pretty good to me. Yeah, more than livable to me, who just really wants a space to be able to work on polystyrene drawings. Speaking of which, this is a piece that I picked up because it was just outside of a sort of dumpster at the parking lot for that apartment unit. Yeah, I figured picking up a piece from inside that sort of dumpster, that looked more like a wheelbarrow, and didn't have a lid. Maybe that would be rather unhygienic. I just picked up this piece and put it somewhere within Mom's car, which by that point, because for some of the time we were at my sister's new apartment unit, we loaded a few bins either onto my dad's dolly that he's currently borrowing from his parents to move into his new house, or in my case, I wheeled one of the bins out of the apartment building, which involved riding an elevator. Yeah, by the way, throughout this Philadelphia trip, there was kind of a little game between Dad and me, in which we would try to predict which of two elevator doors would open for us. If I recall, Dad ended up winning with 4 correct guesses to mine 2. With Dad getting it right 4 times in a row. And then I think me twice in a row. According to what I know now, it's just a matter of luck. And there isn't really a way to determine which elevator door, if 2 are right next to each other, which one will open. My streak started when I just started letting Dad guess first, and then I would pick the other elevator to be the one to open first. And naturally. But again, it's just luck. At least according to me. Yeah, there were, for the pretty much the entirety of the car ride home, this being one of the bags that we had in the car, it currently contains Sprite bottles that I believe we got at some point from a store. I don't know if that happened today, but I do know that we at one point, when we first checked out of that hotel room, we went to a Target location within Philadelphia, and Mom went in to get my sister laundry detergent, a shower curtain, and some towels. Because at one point, my sister misplaced the laundry detergent. And this was right before we went to the building where my sister's new apartment unit is. There were honestly points in which I was looking forward to get back home, but I'm glad that I went on this Philadelphia trip with my family. The recent Ukrainian counteroffensive in the south primarily in Kherson and Kharkiv has me interested in the conflict in a way that I haven't been for months. Since prior to that, it was pretty much a stalemate. With, from what I heard, a very slow Russian advance. I primarily get my information from various YouTube channels. In fact, that is something I did on my mobile phone. Since throughout the Philadelphia trip, I couldn't really access the internet on my laptop. I accessed the internet through mobile data on my phone, where I generally just tried to find the real truth of what's going on. From what I hear, Ukraine made a successful counteroffensive, taking back thousands of square kilometers, but at a considerable personnel cost. But that's to be expected. They say it's generally harder to go on the offensive than on the defensive. I think I got something like 5 or so hours of sleep last night when we were in that hotel room. There was a point where I fell asleep, I think, in the early to mid-afternoon, somewhere between... I recall waking up around 2:30 p.m. Maybe actually more like 2:20 p.m. While Dad was driving us home from Philadelphia, which for us is about a few hundred miles or so. We crossed the state border on the way home, went under a tunnel, and then after that, but I actually fell asleep kind of right before we crossed that state border. And I think I was asleep for maybe about half an hour from what I recall. Half an hour to 45 minutes or so. And for the most part, I was on my phone a lot throughout the car ride home, with Dad listening to the sports station in order to listen to the first football games of the season, which is what we call a game in which we kick a brown oblong object. Well, you don't really kick it, more like passing it, though some kicking is involved. The first games of the season, Dad was partially so interested because one of the games today involved the Minnesota Vikings, his favorite team. Although that game wouldn't be on until either 3:30 p.m., 3:45 p.m., or 4:45 p.m. So it came on during the car ride, just not until later into the car ride back home. So again, he had to listen to those football games through our car radio. There was at least one point relatively early on in which I gave him updates of the scores for the ongoing football games using Google Assistant. For me, it's been nice to get back home. I recall there was a point in which I fell asleep during the evening. Though I woke up before the day ended. I think on the car ride home I completed a Duolingo Spanish lesson or two, or maybe that was... Actually, I think that was while Mom was out. Either while Mom was out shopping at Target for some stuff for my sister, or while we were driving there or to my sister's new apartment unit. But yeah, it's nice to be back home, but I'm glad I went to Philadelphia. I uploaded the September 8th in my dinner video last night while I was trying to fall asleep. I did it from my bed without waking my parents up, thankfully. I dimmed the light and muted my phone to ensure this. And not the most comfortable position, but I managed to do the upload from there. It just puts extra strain on your neck, but my neck's fine. And it didn't end up being sore from me doing that.